Hey gamers, I am Snack7. Hope we're all well. Back again with another video, and we're going to be taking a bit of a step back in time in this video because we're going to go back to the late 70s, and we're going to be talking about a console that was my very first console I ever owned, and which turned me into the gamer that I've become over the last 40 years, and that will be the Atari 2600. Now, obviously back in the day, when you wanted a new console, you had to sell the old one to get the new one, and it's something I've always really wanted to try and get back in the collection, which was an Atari 2600, and get the 22 games that I originally owned back when I very first had my Atari. Now I did try this 4 years ago, and I got a console, and I started collecting the games, but within a month I got rid of it. The actual Atari that I bought wasn't the best, and the picture quality was terrible. But you're talking 4 years on now, and I've basically thought it's time I started again. But I literally did start this collection last year when I went to the Birmingham gaming market, and the thing that spurred me on was this. Firstly, I picked up one of these, which was of course the Atari 2600 Plus. This is still bagged, and I've never taken it out of its packaging, but I'll come to that and the reasons why shortly. So when I bought that last year, going to the Birmingham gaming market, I picked up my first 3 games, which I did show in my video last year when I did go to the Birmingham gaming market. And the first 3 games that I picked up for the Atari were these. 2 Parker games, of course, and the first one was Q*bert, and this is lovely condition, of course, and as I say, this has got its protective sleeve on, so I won't be getting these out, of course, but as you can see, fantastic and arcade classic Q*bert. Now, of course, I did have the full set of the Parker games in the 22, which is just quite random that I went for these when I was back as a kid, but I did have all the Parker games. So Q*bert was the first one that I picked up at the gaming market, and then the next one, which was Super Cobra, another classic, fantastic, like side-scrolling shooter for the Atari, really fantastic condition. And then the last one, which was an essential purchase for the collection, of course, which is probably one of my top 3 favourite Atari games at the time, which is of course the classic Pitfall 2. Now this one, believe it or not, is not the one I picked up at the Birmingham gaming market, because I'll go into another story why this isn't that version. But there you go, that's what I picked up last year from the gaming market, apart from this one, which is a different version, or should I say a different copy, and I'll tell you why. Because after me purchasing those games, I had a message from Mr. Tutti UK himself telling me that the Atari 2600 Plus wouldn't play Pitfall 2. So I thought, right, that's it, forget it, I've got to go out and get myself an original Atari. So I picked up a bundle of with an Atari and a bunch of games, 3 games which are essential to the collection anyway, and part of the 22, but probably 3 of the best games in my collection without a doubt, what I wanted to get anyway, but cost silly money. But I managed to get these in a really cheap bundle with a new Atari. Now that Atari is this one, which has got a case on, of course. Now I picked it up loose because I thought, why not? It's a good bundle, and the games that were in it, I thought I had to have. So, nice, woody Atari 2600, but this one is RGB modded, and the picture quality is absolutely superb in it. So, well happy to pick this up. So, it had all its gubbins, it had the controllers, it had the paddles, it had everything that you need for this to play on any TV, basically. So, I had that, but with that, I had a number of games. Now, there are a few games of the 22 that I need in this obviously bundle, but there are a few extras. So what I'll do is I'll show the extras first, and then going to the games that are part of the full 22 set of what I originally owned. So I'll remove that one there. Right, so let's talk about these. So these are the extras. So the first one is this one, which is, I'm assuming it is an arcade game, and it's called Warlords. These are all boxed, of course. Obviously, you're going to get wear and tear because these are 40 years plus, but very good condition. Apart from the fact you're going to get these little markings there, but that's because the flap obviously was attached there back in the day, and you had no choice but to rip the paper off and get these silly stupid marks, which is a shame. But regardless, now this game is kind of like it's like a war game technically. You've got 4 castles, and you've got to basically smash down the walls. The first one to obviously smash the castle is the winner, basically. I think Alex Nintendo Arcade, or Al's Arcade, let's get that right, he loved this game, and he did talk about this in one of his previous videos many moons ago. But as I say, classic little arcade game. Not played this yet, but still one worthy of keeping in the collection. I thought, well, I've got this bundle, I might as well keep them in the collection. So that's the first one, that's Warlords. And then the second one is another classic, and this is of course Missile Command. Artwork on that is absolutely amazing. Love the artwork on that. Really, really is nice. But box is in really quite good condition. No, funny enough, no marks on the back there. But as I say, put these in protective covers, and these will be really, really nice. Bit of a sunfade there, I think. I don't know whether that's... Is that sunfade? That's kind of weird, because you've got orange on there and you've got yellow on there. If anybody owns this, let me know. Is that the way it should be? I honestly don't know. But regardless, still a nice box copy of Missile Command. And then the next one is another arcade classic, and that is Super Breakout. Another fantastic game, and this one I can see is orange both sides, so I'm assuming that it's got a bit of sunfade on it. I'm not too sure, but regardless, an absolutely classic game. Really must be, these must be the early games, because there's no actual artwork on the back of the game itself. But yeah, nothing a nice protective sleeve wouldn't do for that. Keep it in shape, but well happy to have that one. That is of course Super Breakout. And then finally, well actually not finally, there's 2 more. This one is quite a quirky kind of game. Never knew this game actually come out in the Atari, and it is the Space Shuttle, and this one's called A Journey into Space. So I'm assuming you take the shuttle into space and you've got to land it, because on the back it shows you, and it's mostly looks like a flight simulator, which I thought quite unheard of, to be fair, on the Atari. That's why I'm quite surprised this game come out. But I do really quite like the look of this. I mean, it's got some quirky little stuff in it. It's got which I find quite amusing. You do have this, which is like this kind of thing that you stick over the front of your Atari 2600 where the buttons are, and it kind of acts as like a control unit for the space shuttle. And I thought that was really quite quirky, and for back in the 70s or probably early 80s, that's quite innovative, to be fair. So that was quite cool. As I say, I've not yet played this game, so it'd be interesting to give this a go, see how it plays. But yeah, never knew this was released on the Atari until obviously I picked it up in this bundle, but really in great condition. So looking forward to giving that one a go. That should be an interesting game. And then finally, before we get onto the main 3 games that I, oh actually tell a lie, got another two, and then we'll talk about these, losing track here. So these 2, obviously, the next one, should I say, is the classic Space Invaders. Absolutely, it's a staple game to have in the Atari collection, and this one is part of my 22. So that's another one to the 22, which I've gladly got. So absolutely classic Space Invaders. box is relatively good condition, a bit of a on the top, and of course you got the old marks on the back, nothing you can do about it, but what do you expect for 40 plus years old? But very happy to have that one. Now the next one is one that I'm going to class as an exchange for one of my original 22. Now when I had the 22 back in the 70s, well early 80s, I had Pac-Man. Now Pac-Man, let's face it, Pac-Man is probably the worst conversion of Pac-Man in history. It is absolutely awful, but thankfully they brought a better version out of that, and that would be this one, which is in absolutely fantastic condition, and that is Miss Pac-Man. And this is in absolutely beautiful condition, but this game plays, looks, sounds 100 times better than the original Pac-Man. So this is now going to be an exchange for Pac-Man, because I'm never going to buy Pac-Man, so I'd rather have the Miss Pac-Man as part of the 22 original, because this is such a much better version of Pac-Man, full stop. So there is Miss Pac-Man, which is now becoming part of the 22. Now the last three games, firstly I'll go on to this one, of course, which is of course Pitfall 2. Now I did buy this originally, of course, from the Birmingham Gaming Market, but this was in the bundle, and this one is like a hell of a lot better. Absolutely pristine condition this is. So I literally got rid of this, got rid of the original one, should I say, and then with the money they got back, I more or less made half the money back of the bundle, what I spent on the bundle basically. So very happy to have this one. Yet again, second version, but absolutely pristine and perfect. But to go with that, of course, you got number 2, so you got to have number 1. And yet again, an absolutely pristine condition Pitfall 1. I mean, this is in absolutely beautiful condition. So well happy to have that. Another one to the 22 that I had, but absolutely fantastic. Love the condition of that one. And then finally, one of the, without a doubt, one of my favourite games on the entire system itself, and a classic for most people, to be fair. And to get this in a bundle for £130 to me is a no-brainer. It's an absolute win for me, and that is of course Hero. And this thing is in beautiful condition, not a blemish on it, not a crease, nothing. Absolutely fantastic. And this is without a doubt one of my favourite games on the Atari system, and for probably most people. But I absolutely loved every version. I played the Commodore 64, obviously the Atari, and I also loved as well the Sega Master System variant, the Japanese one, which I really do want to get back. So this absolute classic, and this itself just made that bundle worthwhile. Absolutely 100%. So very, very happy to have that in the collection, with also Pitfall 1 and 2. 3 vital games in anybody's Atari collection as far as I'm concerned. So that was the Atari bundle that I picked up. And then, right, what happened next? So what happened next is one game I was after from Activision, and I waited and waited and waited, and I could never get one that was in good condition, or it was just 9 times out of 10 it was the boxes were in very bad condition, and it was overpriced. But eventually I actually got one that was actually worth picking up. And hang on one moment, this seems to be, that's better. There we go. So this game I've been waiting for a very, very long time, and I managed to get it at last. But it's like Buzzies. One comes on eBay, you buy it, and then you'll get another 3 or 4 people put one on, and that's exactly what happened after months of waiting for it. So the one I'm talking about is of course Decathlon, the classic Decathlon. Now if you want blisters on your middle of your palm, apart from the obvious, this is the best way to go. This thing is horrendous. Some great sporting events on there, but I'd say trying to do the 1500 meters is probably one of the worst experiences you can ever have in any game. Doing that on the top of the joystick for about 20 minutes. It's no good for any man or woman, believe me. But trust me, it's still a fantastic game, but I dread the 1500 metres on this. I've yet to play it again. I've had and got many memories of me playing this and suffering in agony about 3 or 4 days later, but never mind. Still, I got one. I didn't pay too much. I think I paid about £25 for that. Very happy to have it at last. But as I say, I bought this one and then another 2 or 3 come on eBay, as you do, just the way it goes. But well, happy to have that. And that's another one from the 22, original 22. So let's go on to, of course, the Parker games. Now, I've got obviously Super Cobra and Qbert. So my main goal was then to get and finish off the, of course, the Parker set, which I had of the original 22. So one of the first ones I picked up was, of course, Sky Skipper. Now, not bad conversion. It's not exactly the same as the arcade in any way, shape or form, but it's got similarities. Very basic, but still quite a playable game. But as I say, this is a very nice game. Obviously, Alex is one of 2 people who owned or does own the original arcade of Sky Skipper in the world. But I'll be quite happy with this version. This is good enough for me. And realistically, I never even knew this come out as like one of the Parker set, to be fair. Originally, it was only my dad that picked this up and went, "Yeah, awesome, there's a new one." I went, "Sky Skipper, never heard of it." And obviously still hadn't heard of it up until 3 or 4, 5 years ago, when Alex talked about this on his channel as being a lost arcade game. So it's pretty interesting to find that 8 years later about this game. But as I say, very happy to have that back. So there's Sky Skipper. Now the next one was one I had, and this was probably the 3rd game my dad bought me. But when he bought me this, the day he bought me this, I was so ill. Because I suffered terribly when I was a kid. I'd always been ill, and he bought me this to try and make me feel better. And regardless of him buying it me, I felt terrible. I never got out of bed all day. And he played this more than me on the day when he bought it. But I picked this one up. Now, the only downfall about this one is I got the game and the instructions, but I got no backing. The backing plate, where basically what you do, you've got like a little bit of paper in there, and you slot the cartridge in, and it's got the name on the top, Amidar. People who own Atari, the Parker games will know. What I'll do is, when I'll open the next box, and you'll see exactly what I mean. So if anybody's got an inlay for this spare lying around, hit me up and let me know, because I really want the inlay for it, so I can slot the cartridge in and complete that game. But Amidar, classic game, absolutely fantastic game. Not the best version. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot more better versions out there, but still love the artwork. Great little game, and very happy that my old man bought me this, but I did get around to playing it eventually. Right, next one, I'll keep that one. Next one is Tutankhamun, and this one is like it's basically like a labyrinth game. I can't remember, to be fair, how this plays, because it's, as I say, not playing these for nearly 40 years, you know what I mean, you're going to forget how to play stuff, aren't you? So, but yeah, very happy to have this one in the collection. Perfect condition. Now let me see if I can show you what I mean. No, this one's got a different backing. This one's got like the standard card where you slot the actual cartridge in. There are versions where it's got like a bit of backing paper. I'll show you that in a bit. But there you go, Tutankhamun. Perfect condition. Very happy to add that one. Then we have, of course, one which I'm also missing something, and that is Action Force. Not the greatest game of the collection. Very simplistic, to be fair. Nice condition. Now this one should have the free comic with it, but unfortunately it doesn't. But as I was saying, the backing card, there's the backing card, and you slot the cartridge in like so. So that's what I need for Amidar. If you got a spare one, hit me up and let me know. But obviously I haven't got the comic for this one, So again, if anybody's got a spare comic or knows how I can get a spare comic for this, for the Action Force, hit me up, let me know in the comments, and we'll sort something out, because I definitely need a backing panel for Amador, and of course a spare comic if anybody's got one for Action Force. So there's Action Force. Next one is a game that was never my favourite when I very first originally had it, but obviously being and wanting the full park set, I have to have this game, and that is called Reactor. Now Reactor, great packaging and all that, but the game itself is, I've never really got my head around the game, to be fair. It was quite a game that I just never had any interest in. It just confused the hell out of me. So, and I'm yet to play this again. I've never played it. I might put it on just for nostalgia's sake and just say, let's try and work this game out to see actually how it plays. But beautiful condition, of course. And yeah, this isn't, I thought it said arcade. Oh, I ain't got my glasses on. I'm sure it said arcade classic, but I'm assuming this was not an arcade classic. Or I can't read that. I ain't going to go there. But anyway, I've got it at last. Reactor, beautiful condition. Shame about the gameplay. It's pretty, it sucks, to be fair. Now, moving on to some of the good ones. Right, so let's start with this one, which is an absolute classic. Love, it's like a tune when you hear it. I've never forgot it in 40 years. It's like a little bit of a tune just before the game starts, and then it becomes probably one of the most frustrating games I've ever played, and that is Spider-Man. It is a classic game, there's no two ways about it. Climb the top of the building, get to the top, dodge the Green Goblin, and then basically disarm the bomb. But the buildings get higher and higher and higher with a time limit, and you got people trying to knock you off, and it gets very frustrating very, very quickly. But it's still an all-time classic, and as I say, they've got that little ditty of the music at the beginning, and once I heard it, you just never forget it. It's just one of them little kind of songs that you, well, it's not a song, it's just like a little bit of music that just like sticks in your brain forever. It has for me anyway. But still, fantastic game. This game is going up in price, seriously going up in price. Obviously being because it's a Spider-Man game. But regardless, well happy to have this again, and this ain't going nowhere this time. Next we have a game. Now these next two, these are the ones I've waited for the most, for decent copies, because it was either smashed up boxes, no instructions, and that's all it was. And I thought, I'm just not getting it until I get a decent copy. And then this come up pristine. I thought, yeah, just buy it straight away. And that is, of course, the classic Frogger. Absolutely beautiful condition. This is really, 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 I mean, a very good condition. Beautiful game, fantastic game. It's one of my probably one of my favourite conversions of Frogger. Loved this as a kid, and definitely want to stick the Atari back on, to be fair, and give this a crack, because I ain't played it in a long time. But absolutely beautiful condition. Very happy to have that in the collection. And then this one took the longest. I literally only got this probably about a month ago, and yet again, very hard to find, fully complete. And there was a lot of American copies of this game on there, which I didn't really want. I wanted the PAL one. And this one come along, and I thought, grab it while you can, because I haven't seen one since, funny enough. And that is Popeye. Classic arcade game, Popeye. I haven't played it yet, of course, you know me. But very, very nice condition. Waited a long time to get a good condition one of these. But really happy to have Popeye in the collection at last. So there's Popeye. And then the last three, of course, are, well, two are my favourites of the trilogy. One isn't. And we're talking about the Star Wars games for Parker. Now, this one is probably the weakest of the three. And that is, of course, Star Wars Jedi Arena. Never really got to grips with this game. This is a paddle game, of course. And I think you know, one or two players, and this is basically like your lightsaber swinging at the bottom. I've never really got the concept of it, to be fair. I'd stuck it on and waved the paddle around, and that was it. Hope for the best. So it never really appealed to me, this game, as much as I thought it would do. But being a Star Wars game, I seen the cover with Luke on there and I thought, that's it, I'm sold, I want that game. But unfortunately, it wasn't what I expected. But regardless, really happy to have it back in the collection. And that is, of course, Star Wars Jedi Arena. Then we're moving on to, of course, the best of the bunch. I love this game, absolutely love this game. Played it to absolute death. And that is, of course, Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. And this is an absolute classic. Obviously, the snowspeeder, you've got to stop as many waves of the AT-ATs before they get to the Hoth base and destroy the base. And it becomes no easy task after a time. You do very well, and then obviously they just get harder and harder and harder because you've got to shoot the AT-ATs a number of times and they change colour. And over a time, once they've changed to a certain colour, they'll blow up. And you do get like pressure points flash on the AT-ATs from the back and the front. And if you hit them, they'll destroy in one shot. But trying to get that is a very hard task. But this game, absolutely love this game. Played it to death. It's definitely one of my favourite games, Star Wars anyway, on the Atari 2600. And then finally, last but not least, and this is the last game of the Parker set as far as I know. Let me know below if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming this is the full PAL collection. And this is, of course, Return of the Jedi, the Death Star Battle. Absolutely classic game again. Little Millennium Falcon at the bottom. Wait for the wormholes to open, fly through, destroy the Death Star, job done, start again. But such a classic game, such a an addictive game. I absolutely loved it. Me and my old man played this a lot. Same as Return, the Empire Strikes Back. Absolutely loved it. Well, artwork again for these three games, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. But there you go. There is all my Atari games that nearly went over that I have at the moment. So how many do we actually have for the 22 that I originally owned? 19. So we technically need 3 more, and I know exactly what they are. So the ones that I'm after are Crystal Castles, then we need River Raid, which is probably going to be the hardest of the 3 to get, and then last but not least, Pole Position. So I'm hoping when I go to the Birmingham Gaming Market on the 18th of this month, fingers crossed, I can pick at least one of those 3 up, if not all of them, and then finish off my 22 original games that I had. Now, after I've done the original 22, there are a few games that I would like to pick up, because there are many games I didn't play in the past, and Retro Import Gamer has showed a ton of Atari over the last few months, and there's a fair few games in there that I'm really interested in, so I wouldn't mind picking up boxed. But of course, the main 2 for me is I want to pick Gyros up from America, and of course Star Wars Arcade, which is going to be no easy task because that is an expensive game. But I will get there. I will get it eventually. I ain't rushing out to buy it. I'm biding my time with this collection. This has took me over 9 months to get where I am now. Just bit picking, finding them, waiting for them to come up at the right price, in the right condition, which isn't, a bad thing. Collections aren't supposed to be got in a day, so I'm happy with what I've got. I'm going to really enjoy this collection. It's not going anywhere this time. I'm not getting rid of it next month. It took me too bloody long to get it. But it's a console and a system I should have in the collection. As I say, it was the first console I ever owned, and it made me the person and the gamer that I am today. So it stays in the collection for all time now. Trust me. But yeah, the Atari won't end here. I will have more videos in the future, just to check in and say, oh, here's where I got, sort of thing. But there ain't going to be a lot of games, because I just want to keep this a simplistic collection and just get some of I got all my favourites, all my 22, nearly 3 off, and then just get a few favourites, games that I really want to add to the collection, just to call it a decent little collection, and just call it a day there, you know what I mean? I don't want to go mad. But anyway, that's enough of me. I hope you enjoyed this little Atari flashback. And as I say, I'm glad I've got them back. I'm glad I got this console back in the collection. And right, I'm going to leave it here, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please do like, do comment, do subscribe if you like to see more of this. There's going to be plenty. I've got some Super Nintendo coming soon. More Man vs. Neo Geo, obviously. More PlayStation. The list goes on. So, as I say, I'll be at the Birmingham Gaming Market at the 18th of this month. So looking forward to that. Hoping to pick a few good items up there. Hopefully if I see you there, say hello. By all means, it'd be great to see you. And anywho, enough of me. Have a great weekend. And I shall see you in the next video. So, I am CyberSnake7. As always, keep playing. And remember, always keep watching. All the best.